Great Year is an ancient concept rooted in both astronomical observation and metaphysical tradition. In its most basic scientific form, the Great Year refers to the time it takes for the Earth's axis to complete one full cycle of precession, a slow and continuous wobble in the Earth's rotation. This cycle, known as axial precession, takes approximately 26,000 years to complete. During this period, the position of the celestial poles and equinoxes slowly shift in the sky, causing a gradual change in the backdrop of stars against which the Earth aligns at different times of the year. Ancient cultures, particularly those with strong astronomical traditions, such as the Egyptians, Babylonians, Greeks, and Hindus, observed this long cycle and often imbued it with profound symbolic meaning. For the Greeks, especially through the writings of Plato, the Great Year was not only an astronomical cycle, but a philosophical one. In the dialogue Timaeus, Plato suggests that the return of the stars and planets to their original positions marked a kind of cosmic renewal, a moment when the heavens realigned in perfect harmony. This idea was later developed into a belief that all of history moves through vast cycles or cyclical epochs, repeating or rhyming in structure across the ages. In India, the concept of the Great Year closely parallels the idea of the Yuga cycle, a grand succession of ages that mark the rise and fall of spiritual and moral conditions in the world. According to Hindu cosmology, a full cycle comprises four yugas: the Satya, the Yuga, the Treta, four yugas: the Satra Yuga, Treta Yuga, Vapura Yuga, and Kali Yuga. Each yuga becomes progressively shorter in duration and more degenerate in character, with the Kali Yuga being the current age, marked by moral decay and spiritual ignorance. After the end of the Kali Yuga, the cycle begins anew with the Satya Yuga, a golden age of truth and enlightenment. Although the Yuga cycle operates on its own timeline, some traditions have tried to correlate it with the precessional Great Year. In esoteric and theosophical traditions, the Great Year is viewed not merely as a mechanical astronomical process, but as a metaphysical pulse that influences the rise and fall of civilizations, the evolution of consciousness, and the manifestation of divine order. Each phase of the Great Year is associated with change in human awareness, cultural values, and spiritual orientation. For instance, some theorists claim that humanity moves through ascending and descending arcs of spiritual enlightenment that corresponds to the 12 zodiacal ages created by the precessional motion. Each zodiacal age lasts roughly 2,100 years, and their succession forms the broader cycle of the Great Year. Excuse me. The age of Pisces, believed to have begun around the time of the rise of early Christianity, is often associated with faith, sacrifice, and dualism. Many believe that this age is ending or has already given way to the age of Aquarius, a period said to emphasize reason, community, innovation, and individual awakening. This transition is frequently interpreted symbolically as a shift in collective consciousness, not just a technical adjustment of celestial coordinates. This zodiacal framework suggests that each age influences the time of art, religion, politics, and science that dominate human experience. For example, the age of Taurus, thousands of years ago, was associated with bull worship in the agrarian civilizations of Mesopotamia and Egypt. The subsequent age of Aries emphasized conquest and patriarchal authority, reflecting the rise of empires and warrior deities. The age of Pisces, with its fish symbol and emphasis on spiritual suffering and salvation, has been shaped by Christianity and related belief systems. The age of Aquarium is expected to break down rigid institutions and foster a decentralized collective form of spiritual and social development. Philosophers, astrologers, and mystics have long debated whether the Great Year operates deterministically or whether human beings play an active role in shaping how its cycles unfold. Some interpretations suggest that the Great Year reflects the collective karma of humanity, a feedback loop between cosmic forces and human action. Others argue that it acts like a celestial clock, marking time but not dictating events. There are also interpretations that blend these views, suggesting that while the broad contours of the Great Year are fixed, the specific expressions of each age depend on human consciousness and free will. There are also theories, some speculative and others based on alternative history, that ancient civilizations may have possessed knowledge of the Great Year and encoded it into their architecture, myths, and calendars. Advocates of this view often cite structures like the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Temple of Angkor Wat, or the stone alignments of Göbekli Tepe as repositories of astronomical wisdom. According to this theory, the ancients were aware not only of the yearly solar cycle, but also of the much larger precessional cycle and its impact on human destiny. Others point to the myths of periodic cataclysms and golden ages found across cultures, from the Aztec and Mayan calendars to the Norse concept of Ragnarok and the Greek idea of successive ages of mankind as reflections of a shared understanding of long cosmic rhythms. These myths, while often symbolic, may represent humanity's attempt to grapple with cycles too vast to observe directly in a single lifetime. Modern scientific understanding confirms the existence of the precessional cycle, but does not attribute to it the metaphysical or historical significance claimed by many traditional or esoteric systems. In astronomy, the precession of the equinox is a measurable and explainable phenomenon resulting from the gravitational pull of the moon and sun on the Earth's equatorial bulge. It is used to track celestial change over millennia and calibrate ancient calendars. However, science does not support the idea that these cycles cause spiritual or civilizational shifts, regarding such claims as speculative. Throughout history, a number of thinkers have attempted to estimate the length of the Great Year, a grand celestial cycle marked by the full precession of the equinoxes, or in some cases, by planetary alignments or symbolic returns. These estimations have varied widely depending on the period, worldview, and tools available to those proposing them. Plato, writing in the 4th century before the Common Era, referred to what he called a perfect year in his dialogue to Timaeus. He envisioned a vast cosmic cycle in which all the stars and planets would return to their original positions, but he did not assign a specific duration to this cycle. His perception was more philosophical and astronomical, focusing on the harmony of celestial movements rather than the empirical observation. Similarly, Cicero, who wrote in the 1st century before the Common Era, described the Great Year in terms of planetary cycles and alignment. Like Plato, he avoided offering any numerical figure and approached the idea as a metaphysical return of celestial order. Josephus, the 1st century Jewish historian, recorded that the ancient Chaldeans or Babylonians had a concept of a great year lasting 600 ordinary years. This number likely emerged from earlier Mesopotamian traditions, which were fond of numerical cycles and cosmic epochs, often based on sexagesmal systems. By contrast, Macrobius, a Roman writer from the early 5th century, cited that some ancient philosophers believed the Great Year to last 15,000 years. His source was likely symbolic, reflecting an ideal cosmic harmony rather than a measurable cycle.